I'm sure questions will come back to Iran and the Middle East. There's general consensus, I think, that the only people who have any leverage over North Korea right now are the leaders in China. But they've been reluctant to exercise it in a serious way to restrain North Korea's nuclear program because they fear instability more than the nuclearization. Would you have any different approach in trying to persuade the Chinese that they should behave differently?
Well, I think we need full engagement with the Chinese across the board. I mean, it's for a couple reasons. One, we have a convergence of strategic interests. North Korea would certainly be one of those. Two, there could be huge misunderstandings because my experience with China, I started traveling there in 2007, 3 or 4 times a year, and in talking to people, it became pretty clear as a neophyte going to China that they have no clue about us. And frankly, we have no clue about them. And that difference can create all sorts of bad outcomes. The best example seems like a small thing. In 2009, after the president's re-election, there was the summit in Palm Springs. And Mrs. Obama didn't go to the summit. And the glamorous First Lady of China went with President Xi. And the scandal in China was that Mrs. Obama and the United States government, and the United States, therefore, were insulting China and its first couple by not being there. And every meeting I had in Beijing started out for the first 10 minutes lambasting me about why it was, as an American, why it was that we insulted China. And I'm thinking, you know what? It could be that Mrs. Obama was worried about the science project of Malala. I mean, we're different. We don't think the same way they do. I'm sure that they did not, try to go out of their way to insult the country, 1.2 billion or 1.3 billion people of China, or the first couple when they were trying to establish better personal relationships. But that's how you get into trouble, is by not having full engagement. So yeah, I mean, we should be engaged because we have a mutual security interest as it relates to North Korea. But I think we need to deal with China from a position of strength, not weakness. And everything should be on the table, and it should be done based on mutual respect, for sure. But we shouldn't pull back when they attack us in terms of their attacks on cybersecurity, which they continue to do. We shouldn't pull back when they are challenging the traditional maritime routes that have created prosperity for their own country and hundreds of millions of people being lifted out of poverty, where they're trying to challenge the legitimacy of international law. We should be forceful on this, and we should, if we're going to pivot to Asia, which I'm not necessarily thinking is appropriate, we ought to be clear about what our role is in the region, which brings me to another element of how you would, I think, deal with China from a position of strength, which is supporting the Trans-Pacific Partnership, supporting a free trading agreement. It may not be perfect, and perhaps the next president will have a chance to renegotiate elements of it, just as President Obama did with the trade agreements that his predecessor had on the table for Congress to approve. It could be enhanced and improved. But the fact is, if we don't pass this agreement, we're sending a signal that we're not serious in Asia. The rest of our allies will basically receive this as a legitimate, and I think they'll do so legitimately, that we're abandoning the region. And that would be an unmitigated disaster. Imagine trading standards that would look more like Chinese. Imagine trading standards in Asia that would not respect intellectual property or environmental challenges or whatever it is. The U.S. trading standards are the ones that create the chance for more people to benefit from them than the Chinese standards. And we should embrace these things because it's in our security interest to do so.
What's your